Okay, welcome back folks, my name is Last No Meal and welcome to the third stream of the CD Projekt RED 20th anniversary. So today we actually have the Witcher 3 stream, and if you're not following, basically they're doing a game per week celebrating the history of the company and of those titles. In the 2 weeks ago we had the Witcher 1, last week we had the Witcher 2, this week we have the Witcher 3. Next week is going to be interesting to see what are they going to show, if they're going to be going for the expansions when it comes to The Witcher 3, or they're going to be going for something else. But welcome everyone, thank you so much for coming to the stream, thank you for stopping by. So the stream is going to be on twitch.tv/cdprojectred. They're not showing it on YouTube, and it's going to be starting in 30 minutes basically from now. So we're going to be following that, see what they have to show, and today they're going to be talking with Philip Weber, who is a campaign director currently working at CD Projekt, and he was actually one of the people who was heavily involved in the creation of The Witcher. So basically he's a cool guy, so I'm very excited to hear what Philip has to say. So how is everyone doing today? Hopefully everyone is doing well. Hi Willemert, thanks for coming. Let's see what everyone is saying today. So I've seen there's been a huge discussion around Cyberpunk and The Witcher and everything. Yeah, it's true actually, like the stocks of CD Projekt have went down, but the problem with that, as I said before, a lot of stocks were overinflated in 2020, and basically the company was overvalued. So even if Cyberpunk came out and it was great, it will still have a drop because it's just natural how things go that way. But it would definitely did not have the drop that we have today, but it happened. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Samir, thank you so much. Glad you enjoy the videos. I cannot hear you clearly. What? Can everyone hear me well? I just want to double check if my voice is all right. What would be your last meal? In reality, what do you mean? For today or for life? I don't know, man. Technically, every meal could be your last meal when you think about it, right? Okay, yeah, a lot of people are asking if they're gonna be announcing the next Witcher title or they're gonna be doing the Witcher 3 update. Honestly, as I said in my previous video, this is a perfect time to at least show a screenshot or an announcement or something regarding the next gen upgrade of The Witcher 3. I mean, you're doing a Witcher 3 stream, it's been 20 years, you have Philip Weber, it's a perfect opportunity. If not now, then when? Honestly, when are you going to show it? So I think they might do it, but honestly, like, who knows with CD Projekt? Like, they might just do a stream, cut it, and that's about it that we're gonna be getting. But it's kind of logical from every marketing perspective and every perspective whatsoever to do it. So yeah, 100% fine on your end, then good. You look like you stayed up all night. Yeah, I didn't get enough sleep. I definitely did not get enough sleep last night. Man, we need another game like The Witcher 3, but we all know that nothing can replace Witcher 3. Yeah, Witcher 3, I mean, it was one of the craziest games that ever came out when it comes to RPGs. But if we're ever gonna be having another Witcher game which is going to top The Witcher 3, that's going to be tough. I mean, even the next Witcher game, it has a lot to live by because it's going off of The Witcher 3. So now you have to think about, okay, how do we make the next Witcher game excel at what The Witcher 3 was doing? That's gonna be hard. That's gonna be incredibly hard. This is the final stream of The Witcher, perfect opportunity. Yeah, so I don't know if they're gonna be doing Thronebreaker and Gwent as well in these 8 streams. It's possible, but we'll see. They're definitely releasing PlayStation 5, Xbox Series physical versions after all the DLC is done. I mean, people are also asking about the next gen upgrade box. Is it gonna have a physical release? I don't think it's gonna have physical release. It's just the update after all. I mean, technically you get that update with every copy of The Witcher. So, but when it comes to Cyberpunk, of course, I expect the edition, a complete edition with everything, like DLC's expansion when that comes out eventually. CDPR set the bar so damn high with The Witcher 3 that they won't be able to beat it, I mean, I don't think, like, look, when it comes to that, honestly, I would just love a good Witcher game. I mean, doesn't have to beat anything. Obviously, it has to do things well like The Witcher 3 did. Obviously, it cannot be worse. But, I mean, I'm not expecting, again, because I don't want to overhype myself or anything. I'm just expecting a decent game. But The Witcher is the bread and butter of CD Projekt, and they understand, hopefully, that it's going to play an important role in the future. Because, you know, Cyberpunk, yeah, I mean, it can fail, which it didn't, it made money back, but it scarred CD Projekt Red for the future, and then everything else you do in the future is gonna be questioned by people, if it's gonna be good or, you know. What's your thoughts on if CDPR made a John Wick video game, which could be their answer to Max Payne? I don't, like, CDPR is never making a John Wick game, man. Never. I mean, yeah. Although a John Wick game would be a cool thing. Definitely. If it's done well, if the action is good, if it has a Max Payne style, yeah, that would be cool. When does the event start? In 25 minutes on twitch.tv/cdprojectred. Yeah, so when it comes to Cyberpunk, right now they actually have been updating the branches in, you know, behind the scenes, but nothing so far. It's been 3 months since the first dev branch was actually posted on Steam branches behind the scenes. By the way, if my camera freezes, just let me know, because this Nvidia software is not working well. Well, technically, for as long as you are profitable, I mean, stocks are obviously important and the value of stocks, but today value of stocks is nothing. You can have a company valued at whatever billions of dollars and that company is not making any profit. It's just how the business goes. But if you're making profit, you're gonna stay liquid and you're gonna stay in business. Simple as that. This expansion will redeem Cyberpunk. I hope so. I hope so. I mean, they said they're gonna start marketing that in 2022. So, I mean, yeah. If it's gonna be the only expansion for Cyberpunk, which it seems it is going to be that, I hope they blow it out of the park, because yeah, that's gonna be a send-off to Cyberpunk itself. Hey Sentinel, what's up? No, Stefan, you didn't miss anything. I can't get over the fact that Geralt won't be there. Yeah, that's interesting, because, you know, Geralt is such a vital part of The Witcher. It's such a vital part of the books, of the games, and obviously the Netflix series. So when you have a Witcher game which doesn't have Geralt, it's complicated because people get used to one character. So now it's gonna be interesting if they go for, like, create your own character, or they do the continuation of some story with Ciri, or maybe they go back to the past with Vesemir, or maybe they create their own Witcher. Who knows what's gonna be happening? I mean, it's still so far away, and I know that CDPR has been experimenting heavily with all of that, so I mean, anything is possible with character creation. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next Witcher game would be like create your own Witcher type, but yeah, everyone loves Geralt. Yeah, that's the thing, pretty much. Yeah, I mean, when like next Witcher game, it might feature Geralt, but it's not gonna be anything special. It might just be some mention, or maybe you have Geralt for a couple of minutes in the game. Who knows? Who knows? It all depends which story they go for. Because I mean, right now we have the medallion, we have the snow. So my first guess is like the time of the White Frost. Is that it? You know? It's like Mass Effect with no Shepard. Yeah, but Shepard was different because you could shape Shepard into different face. Meanwhile, Geralt is Geralt, you know. It has a set, you know, facial features that you cannot change all that much besides hair and all of that. So I don't know. I mean, it's similar situation, but again, similar to voice, because people got used to Shepard's original voice, both female and male. But yeah, it's somewhat. Am I a Witcher fan? No, I'm just doing Witcher videos for, you know, for money. I would create Geralt if you make the character. I mean, a lot of people, if there is like a character creation, I'm sure they're going to have like a bunch of Geralts, running around. Nah, Geralt is done. If Sapkowski is writing a new novel, it's certainly not for CDPR. They take the stuff from it though. Is Sapkowski writing something new? Have I heard of the Bleak Fate Forsaken? Yeah, I have. I know that's in development, right? But it's been in development for ages now. I don't know if there's any updates on that pretty much. So the stream is gonna be starting in 20 minutes. How would Geralt do in the world of Game of Thrones? Gee, I don't know. I mean, when you think about it, it's the world of Game of Thrones, at least when it comes to kings and queens and politics, is pretty similar, you know. They're gonna be doing their own stuff and Geralt is just gonna be in between all of that. I did not play Stray yet. I will. Yeah, the next Witcher game is gonna be next gen. There is no way that's coming out in I don't know how many years now, and that's not coming out for anything else. Then you know, then it's gonna be current gen. It's not gonna even be next gen in like 4 or 5 years or whenever it comes out. I mean, it's impossible to know really because right now we do know that the next Witcher game just entered another phase of pre-production, and that's a long time until we're gonna see anything like a lot. Why did the Witcher Netflix show fail so bad? Because they didn't stick to the source material. They didn't capture the universe well. I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, the casting they have is not even that bad because the casting is really trying hard. Like from the actors I've seen, like they're really trying hard to picture those characters. But the problem is you can put, I don't know how many characters, but if the writing is not done well and if the character cannot work with good material, then man, I don't know. I like the second season of Netflix The Witcher was okay for me, but I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really enjoy it too much. I don't know. They just some of the things they've been making, like for example, you enter Kaer Morhen, there's 25-30 Witchers there. Okay, no, that's not even, no. You automatically removed the focus from the main group, which you could have spent all of that time casting those 30 Witchers. Just put the Witchers which are in the book and focus on them as a family, as a lost family, now trying to adapt the Ciri entering that family. Simple as that. But it's just, I don't know. Yeah. Although Henry loves The Witcher, so he's doing a nice job overall. But yeah, I mean, the script is, no, not good. The problem is, I know, man, I'm a producer. I know, I understand what goes wrong with that. I completely understand. I studied for that. And I can see, and the worst thing is, you have a Netflix producers, people who obviously know how to make stuff, and they fail at some basic mistakes of production. I don't know. That's the thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm gonna be watching third season of Netflix The Witcher, but am I excited? Nah, not really. I don't know. I mean, Netflix, oof, man. Have you seen the new Resident Evil from Netflix? Oh my god. I produce films, events, series, and theater. I don't do games. Or, well, I didn't have experience making games whatsoever. I don't know. Because you can't really study for that here. You don't really have a school for video games here, which would be cool if you had a school which focused, let's say, on game development or something like that. I know, like, Norway has that, right? Norway has a school for gaming or something like that, similar, or an academy or something. Yeah, that Resident Evil on Netflix is so bad, man. It's really, like, it's really bad. It takes talent. It takes talent to ruin that. And you had the films before, which right now they look fine, to be honest. Like those films with Mila, they're great compared to the Netflix one. Netflix did Kahir and Vilgefortz dirty. They did a lot of characters dirty, man. Yeah, Stranger Things, that's great. Stranger Things is fantastic show. And the best thing is it maintained that quality throughout all of the seasons. I don't know, I enjoy Stranger Things a lot. I enjoyed it from like the first season. So when it comes, it's only releasing on Netflix. So Edge Runners, I mean, it's done by Studio Trigger and CD Projekt RED in cooperation, but the distributor, and I guess they probably have some other deal as well in the background, is going to be on Netflix. Because again, Netflix does act as a distributor of some sort, like again, an online video store. What buckets? Oh, this is G Fuel, the sponsor of the channel. They've been really nice. They've been really nice to the channel, because I don't take a lot of sponsorships really, but they've been really nice to the channel. No, it's not late for any show to be redeemed. Every single season can be potentially better or worse, because you learn from like different seasons. Okay, what didn't work in season 1 or 2? Let's adapt it, change it so it can work in the next season. So it is what it is. Like, you have a lot of series, and you can like say, okay, if a series has 8 seasons, you can say like, okay, which one did you like the most? And then you can kind of see, did they become better or worse overall? Oh yeah. Love Death Robots. That's also great. What other universe would you like to see made by CD Projekt? I don't know. Honestly, I would love a Dune game. I would love a proper Dune game, but I do believe that Dune game is already being developed. I think by the same people who made Conan Exiles, if I'm not wrong. I can't remember the name of the company right now, but I know that the Dune game is in development. But is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? We'll see. I'm studying game design in Finland, but that's from artistic side, even though I had a lot of classes showing how the process looks. Yeah, I mean, making anything is complicated, especially making huge titles that require a lot of people. Man, that's a nightmare to produce actually, and just to work at. So whenever like you have a management which has problems adapting to that process, things can go south. And when things go south, well, let me see if this started. So yeah, the stream is going to begin shortly, and that's gonna be, I'm gonna change the let me do it straight away, honestly. Just give me a sec. I need to, oh my god. 2 monitors are not enough for streaming at all. At all, my man. Let me go this way, that way. Nice. Can you hear me? Nice. All right. Dune game is already out. Not a Dune RPG. Not a third-person Dune RPG, which I want. No. I can't tell people Russian. Man, the amount of people thinking I'm Russian, it's honestly insane. Like, oh my god. I don't even have a Russian accent, to be honest. Like, Russians just have a different, or even Ukrainians have a different accent than like from people on Balkan when they're speaking English. It's similar, but there is differences, a lot of differences. What do I think about the Walking Dead game coming out? I didn't even know it was coming out, to be honest. I don't know, I stopped following The Walking Dead a while back, and I haven't really looked back. I think HBO should have made The Witcher. Yeah, HBO has been doing great lately, honestly. I'm very happy with the HBO subscription, with the HBO Max. I'm really happy with it. So far, it has some very decent shows. Very, very decent. All right. Let me just do this. Desktop audio. Boom. CDPR is enough IPs. The problem ain't the lack of IPs. Yeah, I mean they have well, yeah, they have 2 IPs. It's not too much, but for now, I mean they can still make games off of that before they try anything else. So yeah, I mean right now they don't really need more IPs, at least for the time being. As an American, I used to think you were Russian. When I first started watching, you actually used to get you and Exlatalis mixed up all the time. Yeah, Exlatalis is great. I mean, that man is amazing. With the amount of stuff he has found, it's, I don't know, mind-blowing. I've been following, like, Exlatalis has also been a friend of the channel for a very long time. No, I'm not Polish, I'm Bosnian. Yeah. Yeah, as a Ukrainian, I confirm about the accent. Yeah, it's different. It's very much different. Where's the stream? I don't see it on Twitch. CD Projekt RED. What I think of Manor Lords? Oh wait, that I saw that recently. I don't know, like I have to check that again. It looks in that's what, real-time strategy, right? Or because that looked interesting. I need more like strategy games, honestly. Yeah, Geralt the Switcher and Cyber. Yeah, Abuin, you're not wrong. Yeah, honestly, I would just want a screenshot or an image or whatever, a comparison video between, or a comparison image between The Witcher 3 and Witcher 3 Next Gen. That's all I want. Simple as that. I don't need anything else. I don't need a full trailer yet. If they're not ready to show it, just show something. It's a perfect time. Serbo-Croatic, man, that term hasn't been used since Yugoslavia. Someone said Exlatalis actually gone through him and he wishes new content existence. Have I played Disco Elysium? Yeah. Disco Elysium is really nice. It's really nice. Did you see Rockstar added Keanu's cyberpunk bike to GTA? Well, it's not really cyberpunk bike, it's the bike from his company, Arch. So technically, I mean, anyone can put that bike into their games, films, whatever, if it's licensed through Arch and through his company. I mean, yeah. Same as CDPR basically licensed, you know, Arch to be in the game. Or I don't know, maybe there was a different deal then, but you know, CDPR has nothing to do with Arch overall. It's all Keanu. Or well, his company. I know he has a partner in that project. Yeah, this Elysium is great. Didn't finish The Witcher 3 because I heard about the PlayStation 5 upgrade. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to go and finish it yet. It's a long game. The Netflix items are just armor and sword. Yeah, I think so as well. They might have maybe a different outfit for Yennefer or something like that. But, you know. We'll see. What time's the stream? In 8 minutes. What do you guys think? Surprise release of something today? I just want an image. They're not going to release anything. Thoughts on Stray? I saw how it looks. I'm excited to play it. I just didn't get around it yet, but I will. I'll try to get it up next week and play it actually. What about new hairstyles for Geralt? Does he need more? I don't know. Yeah, but Stray looks interesting. Very interesting. I like when games just go out of the usual formula and they try something else. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. If they're gonna be covering everything from The Witcher 3 in one stream, or are they going to maybe separate that? I don't know. We'll see. Yennefer. Yennefer only. My screen is pausing. What? No, I don't have any dropped frames. 0 dropped frames. So if something is happening, that's not on my end. Because usually if if stream starts to lag, there is going to be a thing saying it's dropping frames. By the way, is anyone else experiencing stutters? If it is, I'll try to solve it. Oh, my screen froze again. Just give me a sec. Boom. There we go. Yeah. I'm using the NVIDIA broadcast software, which basically creates a blur behind me. But the problem is, it lags. Like, it can freeze from time to time. Yeah. It's good now. Don't worry. No stutters. Yeah. Yeah, that just keeps happening every time. You spoke into existence. Yeah, it happens a lot. Actually, it happens when I'm recording as well. And that's, oh man, I'm recording a video and then 5 minutes in it freezes, and then I have to, and then I forget where I left off if I don't have a script for that video, and then it's a whole different problem. Yeah, if you notice any dropped frames, just let me know. I'll try to fix it, but so far it's good. I mean, streaming on YouTube is problematic by itself. If you want good quality for YouTube, you need to put a lot of bitrate into it. Otherwise, if you don't put a lot of bitrate into it, it doesn't look good. Meanwhile, Twitch has a much better encoding encoder, so even if you're recording or streaming in 720p, for example, the stream is gonna be alright. Meanwhile, if I try to stream 720p on YouTube, it's going to look bad, very bad. Hello, Gabriel. Can't you just do that in post edits instead of live if you're recording? What do you mean? I mean, the problem is, like, I record different. I just record the video, like the camera, but it freezes randomly. Because when I load up my video, like, I won't have that nice little blur behind me. Because this Logitech doesn't have blur. Doesn't have different aperture to even produce blur. Do you think Witcher 4 should have Souls combat approach? Psh, I don't know. I mean, I just want it to be smooth. I want it to be good. I want that combination of science and combat to be well done. And especially because this is going to be the first time they're doing it in Unreal Engine, it's going to be big. I mean, keep in mind, everything else besides The Witcher 1 was actually done in Red Engine. So, whew, you know. Yeah, that's the thing, like, people have been telling me that I'm the only person, it seems, who is covering this on YouTube. Am I really the only person covering this? And that's weird, because CDPR is a big company. It has big games, but you don't really have a lot of people streaming it besides me. I mean, you have people covering it, obviously, but not a lot of streams. Sounds like a bit like a Batman game villain. Yeah, I need to apply for some voice acting. Kanye West was following Cyberpunk before it released, and CDPR tweeted Lady. Yeah, I remember when there was this huge discussion, oh, is Lady Gaga gonna be in the game? Witcher with Souls experience, sign me up. Yeah. Any confirmation who will be the main character? No confirmation. Anything right now you hear is just speculation, but not confirmation. From what I see, you are indeed the only stream right now. Yeah, I'm telling you. I mean, it's good for me, because all eyes are on one stream, but at the same time, it used to be better before when you had a bunch of more people streaming, and when you had this interaction with people, that was cool, but yeah, that kind of ended, sadly. So we should be starting in 2 minutes, I think. Let me just get this ready. I think so. I hope they show us next gen version of The Witcher 3. Yeah, man, I'm looking. Like, they need to. Like, the thing with this, they need to generate some hype, which people are right. Like, if you're gonna be doing a stream, alright, 20 years, there's people who are interested in that. But for the end, just spice it up with an image and you're gonna have a lot more traffic, a lot more people talking about it, and it will be good. But when you don't do it, people don't pay attention because just how people are today. What do you think about chances for a video game adaptation of Thorgal comics by CD Projekt RED? I've heard that a lot of times. It would be cool. I mean, it's kind of similar to what they were doing, but still, it would be cool. But that's not coming anytime soon. Yeah, the community podcast, that's done, sadly. Yeah, CDPR is so hard to predict. Yeah. Look at this guy. This Russian guy is cringe lord. This is so lame. Alright, man. I'm gonna block you. So, yeah, it is what it is. You know? I love when people, I love when people tell me, man, there's so many countries in the world, so many nationalities, and you know about only one, so your education is zero. All right, let's go into stream.
This week we're gonna be playing The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. My name's Alicia, I'm gonna be your host, and with me I have Philip Weber, our campaign director.
Hello, nice to be here.
So nice to see you, Philip.
We're gonna be playing a few smaller quests this time, so we're gonna roam around Novigrad for a second, and then we're gonna go to Skellige for a monster hunt. You for sure know this monster. As last week, we are not doing any reveals or announcement on this stream, but if you have any questions regarding The Witcher 3 or Philip's job, feel free to drop them in chat and we will try to answer them.
No announcement, boys.
Okay, Philip, so maybe we will just start with what you do in CDPR.
Yes, so I'm a campaign director working on our new Witcher project and also a little bit on the complete edition of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
Okay.
So basically after Cyberpunk, I'm now all focused on The Witcher again. So it's also nice to be here.
That's nice.
Because, you know, I'm now in that phase of my life again where I can...
Nice to be back.
Exactly, where, you know, if I look at like nice stone walls and wooden tables, I'm like, oh, this is The Witcher. This feels good. It's nice.
Oh yeah, awesome. Okay, so now you're the campaign director, but for The Witcher 3 you've been a quest designer, right?
Yes.
And now we will be doing Little Red quest, which you actually came up with, right?
Yes. So I actually started my career on The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. So, you know, there mostly I did smaller quests. So as an example, I pitched a lot of quest ideas, but then as an example with this example here, other quest designers actually implemented that one.
Okay.
So on The Witcher Wild Hunt, I also did a lot of the open world stuff and the community, so the people that live in the villages, because, you know, someone had to fill those.
So it's best for the new person to do this.
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
I'm worried
cool.
about that project,
so
man,
Little Red,
if
this
they're
is
not
the
showing
quest that you
screenshots.
pitched. So what's the process? You get an idea for a quest, and what then?
Yeah, so it was actually a very nice process. I think I pitched this quest in my second week in the company.
Oh, wow.
So it was very much our lead quest designer, Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz. He basically just gave a bunch of the quest designers the task, just give us ideas. And then we wrote like, you know, 70 ideas in a week. And that was one of them. And I do actually still remember why I wrote that pitch. And it's admittedly a very, very dumb thing. Because, you know, we were just like anything was open. We didn't have any special guidelines what the quests need to be about. So I just thought about, you know, existing fairy tales. And there's, of course, you know, the Little Red Riding Hood. And I just had like a really dumb pun in my head, Little Red Raiding Hood. So that she's a raider. It's like, oh, maybe she should, you know, be abandoned and like attack people.
Actually.
And then, you know, a very dumb basic
Little Red.
idea came to be. So,
but that's really cool because it also like ties in with the Witcher novels, because Sapkowski, I know that there were a lot of short stories that were actually based on some fairy tales as well. Like we had Nivellen, that's obviously Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
So I see there's a connection this way as well.
Yeah, exactly. No, honestly, a lot of those quest ideas come like that. So, we're very much there's the popular fairy tales. So that's usually the bigger quests. But we also, have lots of these local Polish legends. Or, in my case, I used a lot of German legends to inspire. And then, I think someone called once the Witcher, it's like Shrek for adults. So, but, in a way, there is truth to it.
Yeah.
That, we use this fairy tale, but we actually look at, a mature angle to the fairy tale. So, how can we twist the moral of that story so it's actually a bit more interesting for, let's say, adults.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, like, was in the end, is the quest very different from your initial idea? Were there many changes along the way?
Some changes. So, this was supposed to be a very basic short quest. So, like the pitch also wasn't super expansive, right? It basically was a few sentences. I do remember, and that was, let's say, a naive assumption I had because I didn't have a lot of experience. I think an original part of the quest was to actually train the villagers. So when you were knowing that, let's say, a possible attack of this bandit group with Little Red Riding Hood is coming, that you would actually use some of your Witcher tricks. So, you would build up barricades around the village. And theoretically, that's not too bad. But it's also a quest where, let's say, a quest designer had a few days to just do everything.
Yeah.
So, the budget wasn't necessarily what I initially imagined. And so honestly, the version is there right now, I think is really, really well done. Because, I can be honest, that wasn't one of my better pitches, like one of my best ideas. But the quest designer actually doing it in the end, I think did a really nice job out of that, basic
I mean,
idea.
if it was one of your first ideas, then I would say that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
Cool. So you said that you were just beginning when you joined for The Witcher 3.
Yes.
Was it at the beginning on the project, or was it advanced already? How did it feel to get into it?
So I would say it was around the beginning of the middle. So I joined in the first half of 2013. So, the game had already started. And I think we already had a first not public demo of the Legend quest that we're actually playing later. So on my first day in the company, I actually got to see that demo. And I got to sit in a dark room next to the Polish voice actor for Geralt.
Wow.
So I actually, got to meet him immediately and say hello.
That's really nice.
But it was still overall pretty early. So, a lot of the main parts for the main story actually weren't decided yet. And let's say the landscape was still very open. So that was a nice thing for me as a quest designer starting, where I was just giving the task, have ideas. And I would basically, as an example, load the Novigrad and Velen level, and there was barely anything there. You had some mountains, you had some forests, but the forest was mostly just trees.
Yeah.
And then let's say some villages were kind of at the place that they're now, but it was mainly just the basic houses.
Okay.
But the nice thing about The Witcher is you just have a bit of grass, you have a few trees, and a village there, and you can kind of see the sun already rising at a nice angle. And it's already a lot to, let's say, inspire you.
Yeah.
So,
True that.
even though when I joined, the world was still super empty, I would often just fly around the camera and basically use that to inspire ideas.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So you were told okay, you have a world here, it's empty, fill it.
Yeah, pretty much. So that was actually also one new thing about The Witcher Wild Hunt, where, let's say, in comparison to Witcher 2, because I talked to Matti, so Mateusz Tomaszkiewicz, who was lead quest designer. Then there was an idea that at the beginning we would fill the world as before with our big main quests and then our big side quests, and for a while that was the plan. But actually pretty late, so in 2013, we noticed that we just need those small 2-minute quests to just fill the world with that. And that was actually then mainly given to junior quest designers. So
like
as an
yourself?
example, yes, exactly. Or I had a colleague called Danish Markiewicz. He was actually teaching me a lot, and he did, I think, the majority of all of those small quests, including all the most of the monster hunts.
Okay.
So he did a lot of work there, while a lot of the other quest designers, they also did those quests, but they then focused on, the big
Something
meaty
bigger.
quests. And then even later, so I think in 2014, we actually had the idea that, oh damn, those quests still aren't enough to fill the world. Now let's do, some POI, so like open world content. But it was already very, very late.
Okay, so I guess that's where all those question marks come from.
Yeah. So, I can admit freely I'm one of those people that actually put those question marks in the world. But I'll be honest, it was I think it was already late 2014, so not that long before release, when we basically just filled the world with
wow,
that.
so it's like 6 months to do it.
A little bit. So there wasn't,
really?
a lot of time. So it was very much, okay, we just have to do it, and we can't do it perfectly. But I do have a little bit of a defense, where, as an example, I did a lot of those terrible, I can say terrible because I didn't, smugglers' caches. But originally, we put them into the world. We put some seagulls over them, so you would see them circling. But it wasn't planned to actually have an icon on the map.
Oh, okay.
So, you would just randomly find one, or there's seagulls on the shore. I'm going to check there. Oh, it's nice, I found some loot. But then, when we had put icons on them, and you had 50 of those in the
and then you see
Ocean,
the map is filled with those.
Exactly, and I completely would agree that was a mistake. I wouldn't do that one again, because it's nice content to just randomly find and then move on. But if we put an icon on it, we're also kind of telling you as a player,
Man, it's not 6
worth
months to
going
put
there.
question.
Right, but if we tell
My
you,
God.
hey, it's worth just looting that same thing 50
It's
times over in
programming every
Skellige,
single one.
it's not that great. maybe.
Plus, I guess player feels better without having it on a map because they found it by themselves, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, you probably, without the icons, you wouldn't have found all of them, but you didn't need to. They were just, some nice loot you find.
Yeah.
And if you find it randomly, you have your little success moment. And it's nice. And I think that's all that kind of content, at least in Witcher Wild Hunt, needed to be. But so, it was a learning experience for us.
There were a lot of those question
so we are
marks,
now
though.
in Novigrad, and
A
you said
lot.
that you did a lot of open world stuff and communities around Novigrad as well. So
Yes.
what are some examples that you could tell us about?
So honestly, it was mostly myself and another quest designer, Sarah Grümmer, also from Germany. We basically filled the world with crowds. So let's say, all those crowds you see in the streets of Novigrad or in the villages, we usually did. So, for the villages, we got to do it very detailed. So we would say everyone has their own bed. They wake up in the morning, they eat some breakfast, they go to work. In the evening, they eat dinner with their people and they go to bed again. So, we kind of made this task fun for ourselves by, telling these little stories, even with the
amazing.
crowds. And usually we did exchanges where, I do one village, Sarah does another village. And Novigrad we exchanged, where basically I think I did the harbor, I did the Temple Island, I did the rich district, and Sarah did what you can see here, the poor district. So all the people just walking around here. And
But
this was also done in a really short amount of time.
That was done
So
well.
with those villages, you said that all of the people have
immersive.
their own cycle. With Novigrad, how does it work? Is it the same or?
A little bit. So there are a few houses in Novigrad, especially if you actually walk through the harbor. There's actually a few houses you can enter and they have beds and so on. So those people have it. But Novigrad, the fact of the matter was there's thousands of people actually there. And we didn't want to open thousands of houses because we just couldn't do enough content. So this is why we also didn't have those beautiful day and night cycles. Because that's also one thing, if you have a city in a game that has 50 people, you can do this nice, everyone has their own bed and they go for dinner. But in Novigrad, we just wanted to put thousands of people there. So there we just gave up on that idea.
I can imagine that would be a lot
But
trickier.
I would say we did it almost everywhere else. So you can follow those people usually.
Nice. So do you have your favorite mini story of a completely random NPC, or maybe your favorite NPC that you created a story for in your head, maybe even?
So I do remember a few nice ones on Skellige I did. So there's one guy on Hindarsfjall, I think, who I made it so it's not the deepest quest story, but I made it so his wife yells at him and complains a lot. So in the middle of the night, he usually gets up and he goes to his outhouse and he just reads a book. Or I think in Arinbjorn village, I have like there's a family of a hunter and his wife. And so in The Witcher Wild, we had voice sets that basically determines what kind of voice or what actor plays these NPCs. And we had one actor who basically did a voice where he can't speak. He just made noises.
Oh,
So I actually assigned a woman who did that and a man who did that. So they have a really nice family life together. They eat together. The man goes hunting with his dog at daytime. But when you talk to them, they're just gonna make like, so all of those things are maybe not the deepest thing, but we also tried to tell these little
yeah,
nice
but
things.
that's super interesting. And like I guess if you are trying to just play the main story in the game, you won't really experience all of that. But if you pay very close attention, you can see those little details, and that's actually what makes the world what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like they shouldn't actually ask for too much attention, right? Because when you want to follow the story and you run around, like you're playing a quest like that, one guy in the crowd shouldn't now run up to you and like wave or like do too fancy things, so you wouldn't you would be distracted. But sometimes we do these nice little things. So I know there's a guy in Novigrad on top of a building that I think at 1 p.m. in the afternoon, he just sometimes pees on other people that are below him.
That's nice. That's a really cool like Easter eggs,
Yeah.
I guess. Okay,
Gotta
so
find
we
that.
actually got one question from the chat, which kind of fits with our previous conversation about all those question marks. So the question is, did you also design the map along with designing the quests? Did you put the quests in their places, or is it decided by someone else?
So let's say designing the map itself, we didn't do. So this is very much the the environment art team and the level design team. They very much designed how the world works. Because it was very important for us to just have a very natural world. So that's why, as an example, you see Novigrad is surrounded by fields. Because you have to think, okay, how does the city feed itself? They probably need a harbor, they need food, and in villages of Skellige, if you actually look at it, you can always see what is, as an example, their source of water. So that was the first step,
Makes
that all of
sense.
those things were placed very naturally. And then often it was very much, oh, hey, come up with an idea for that village. And then it was a little bit of, coming up with that together.
and
So,
see it as well.
maybe the village was already there, but then the story that you tell in that village then changed, of course, how that village looks like or how it works. But generally, quest designers wouldn't now, let's say, build a part of that village,
of
or
course.
or you say, oh, move the village here. We only did that for, let's say, a big main quest. If a big main quest, as an example, needs a new whole village, then we would create
Okay.
it. But generally, let's say, quest locations, so let's say a dungeon or specific buildings, houses, those we would usually ask to, put somewhere.
Okay, so
But we
if you-
always
if-
do that together.
So first it's usually like the location, and then you put some quest in it.
Yeah, so it depends. So I think for those small quests, it was this way
Yeah, yeah,
around.
yeah.
And for the main quests, it actually was the other way around.
Okay.
Where basically we said, we need this kind of content, so please, let's find an area for it. But of course, if someone does main quests in Novigrad, they usually found where there's a good place to put their things without necessarily someone saying, oh, I need a whole new district for my quest.
Wow. Okay. So how about the story? You said that sometimes you pitch those like smaller quests, but we also have writers who like take
Yes.
care of the entire story of the game. So how does cooperation with them look?
So it's actually a bit of a mix. So as an example, when it comes to the main story, they're often the outline. So the important where you really know we go from A to B to C, that is actually created by the writing team. And then it's usually not even that long because we work out those details in quests.
Okay.
And then we start let's say quest design process where the story is just cut into quests. And often those quests don't have that much detail, right? It's often usually just, hey, this is where you start, you need to get this thing in the end, and maybe we want to talk about this theme, or we have this character from the story that should appear there. But then usually a quest designer and a writer are put into a team. And on Cyberpunk, we actually made those teams bigger. So as an example, cinematic designers were also really early involved.
Yeah, I remember this quest.
And then
the
basically
Doppler.
together, a quest design is written, which is kind of like a screenplay for the whole quest, including the gameplay and all the actions that you take. So theoretically, if you read that quest design that's written by writer, quest designer, cinematic designer, kind of together, you can, in your head, imagine how the whole quest plays.
Awesome! Wow.
Yeah.
So exactly like a play.
And those small quests usually were, let's say, pitched as a mix. Like sometimes they came from writers, sometimes they came from quest designers.
Okay.
So we don't have, those super strict rules that only one team gets to do this.
I guess if someone has a good idea, then why not use it?
Exactly. Yeah, and the truth is, I think
this quest
in
is
Witcher
great.
Wild Hunt, later on I did more, bigger quests. But in Witcher Wild Hunt, there's
No
like
updates,
15 quests
nothing.
where I wrote the pitch in the game, but I wrote like 100 ideas. So, you can imagine a lot of those were probably not very good. But this is also, a lot of people, we just like write many ideas.
Yeah.
So I think that's also one of those things that people often actually don't imagine. Because often people say, oh, but I have this idea for a quest. The ideas is usually not the difficult part.
Yeah, it's the easiest part.
Yeah, there we actually have plenty of them. But then actually to make an idea into something good in the game, that's where the hard part comes in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay, so I think that's a good because we got like a few questions about cut content actually. So the question is like some examples of the things that you wanted to put in a game but were later decided to be cut. Or we even have a question about a specific quest, Catriona Plague quest chain. Do you know about it?
Well, I guess Witcher Wild Hunt is 7 years old, so I can talk a little bit about it.
Damn,
So yeah,
7
there
years
used to be an
old.
additional quest line as part of the main quest in the Witcher 3 Wild Hunt that dealt a lot with the Catriona Plague and with the war against Nilfgaard. So I would say actually one of the things that Wild Hunt does well is actually it doesn't necessarily show the war super actively. There's a lot of battles.
Yeah.
How we show the war the most is actually how it affects civilians.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of quests actually deal with the fallout from, let's say, an army having marched through, or all of those battlefields. But that quest line was very much actively about the war. So there was even an idea to have a full cavalry battle. Where I do know our quest designer Patrick Mills was supposed to implement that, and he could rip his hair out only thinking about that. And yeah, that was like a
It would be
10-hour
cool.
long quest line,
Ooh.
and to just because I know this information is already out there.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
a lot of people always wonder
we got
always
a
wish that
specific
happened.
question about it, so,
so
yeah.
So a lot of people always wonder
Man.
oh, why wasn't Jorveth in the Witcher Wild Hunt?
yeah.
And originally he was actually planned for that storyline, but the truth of the matter is, we had to finish the Witcher Wild Hunt, and that quest line just didn't work out as it should have been.
Expansion.
So it wasn't that far
Maybe.
into the game where it was cut.
Okay,
So I
okay.
was already working here, so I knew some of those quests, but then we just had to decide to cut it. And it wasn't necessarily just for time; it was also for quality. We basically decided a lot of the things that this quest does, we just can't do as well as it should
Yeah.
work. So we had to decide to
Okay.
cut it.
So you don't always cut because the time is rushing, or you have to cut costs because you decide, okay, it just doesn't work.
Yes. So, and this is the case for basically also every individual quest. So even the quests that make it, there's many aspects of them that just, sometimes we don't have the budget for it.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's also, this doesn't work. Let's find a more effective solution and get rid of that. Because one thing that we do a lot is just iterating. So, every quest goes through so many different versions,
Yeah.
so many different reviews. So it's actually very rare that a quest that you then actually play is very similar to the quest that was written originally. So that usually transforms quite a lot.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's see what else. What was your hardest quest that you ever
next
did in
gen.
The Witcher 3?
In The Witcher 3. Well, if I can include Blood and Wine, then the hardest was
They don't wanna.
definitely the tournament quest. With Guillaume and Vivienne,
Oh yeah.
where I kind of had to simulate also a night tournament. So I did a lot of things in that quest that let's say our tools for The Witcher weren't made for. So I actually had to find a lot of solutions. So originally I even wanted to have a joust in that quest. And I think I managed once to have a prototype of using our crossbow mode, where you hold the crossbow, but to put a big lance on it, so you can hold it like this. But that was one of these cases where quality-wise, it was just like, I don't think this is coming together. Let's just do something else. But that one was definitely very tricky. But honestly, it's followed by the Fairy Tale Land in Blood and Wine. That was also a very...
I love this place.
Yeah, that was a very custom quest. And that quest actually exists because of cut content. So originally, we used to have another quest there that was basically deemed too tricky to do, too expensive. We wanted to go a little bit into Brokilon and have druids there. Because, if you play Blood and Wine, you can see actually the edge of Brokilon is at the edge of the map. But we basically said, I think this is too difficult to do it. And we have to do lots of assets, these trees and all of that. Let's do something that's more reasonable. And then we did the Fairy Tale Land, which probably was way more expensive in the end. So, it doesn't always work to change things because of that.
Yeah, but it was really, really cool. So probably worth it. Okay,
yeah, Philip
so
is working on The Witcher.
I can see that we are still in Novigrad, and
which is nice.
I was actually wanted to ask you, what is your favorite thing about Novigrad? Is there something that you particularly like about the city?
Honestly, it's just how the city comes together, where I really feel like, the artists working on Novigrad, it was planned really well. And, not
It's
planned
beautiful.
in the sense that it has city planning, but planned in the way that it actually looks like it's a city that has grown.
Yeah.
And, I do feel like even to this day, it's one of my favorite cities in all of games, because I do feel like it's one of the very few medieval cities that look proper, right? It's large enough. It actually feels like it's a city, but it also feels very organic. So, I grew up in a part of Germany that still has, lots of medieval cities with like a medieval core. And as an example, one of the famous houses from one of those medieval cities is a house that is actually leaning to the side because all of those, materials started deteriorating.
Time.
Exactly. And in Novigrad, there is a house like that because, that was not super common, but that was a common thing.
Yeah.
That people maybe were building higher than was reasonable.
Wow, that's really cool. And also, if you we actually in the docks, so some of the buildings in the docks are actually based on some real buildings in Poland from Gdańsk, for example.
Yes, exactly.
The
The harbor
side.
crane.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that if
yeah,
we
yeah.
turn left, we'll see the crane now. Yeah, so if anyone ever is going to do a holiday in Poland, they should really check out Gdańsk.
I think it was visible back there.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So we are now doing the Deadly Delight contract. So I was wondering, we are going to go to the brothel. Did you also participate in creating those?
I think I did, let's say, the community for some brothels. So, like to put in the background people.
Yeah.
But one
Like
nice
clients?
thing, yes, the clients or like people that dance. But one of the nicer things I did was I actually had to do a brothel for
Yeah,
the
I should pin
Nilfgaardian
it.
camp in the south of the map.
Oh.
And that used to be part of that storyline that was cut. So then we had this big building with a wall around it, but it didn't have content anymore. So they actually used it to do an Easter egg out of it. That actually, if you wear Nilfgaardian armor, the people are letting you into this brothel. But yeah, overall, I didn't actually work with them too much. My colleague Danish Markiewicz, he was also a quest designer, but we also jokingly called him the sex designer, because he had the unenviable task to do all of those, let's say, interactions with prostitutes, and he had to set up all of those scenes and make him work. So that was a very nice task.
I wonder if he did some research.
I don't know. I'll have to ask him. But he has a lot of humor about having been, let's say, the expert.
Okay.
for
Yeah.
that topic.
Okay, we sometimes always go to these topics, but so
Call in the brothel
maybe now we
expert.
can do something nicer, because I think that we have some people in the chat that are actually thinking about starting
gen?
their career as a quest designer, as a game designer, something like that. So how do you start? Do you need some specific education, courses?
So you don't need any, let's say, game design studies.
Yeah.
So all of the quest designers, they have like super various backgrounds. So we have, I studied archaeology. We have people that studied political science. We have people that studied psychology, sociology. So it's very important that you're basically, let's say, a person that has interests because one of the nice things about those quest designers is you can always see that the kind of stories they come up with, they're often very much connected with, the thing that they were interested in.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So very specifically about the job, honestly, the most important thing is to just have this game design knowledge, and we usually don't care that much where it comes from. So we do, as an example, have people that did study game design, so they're behind studies, because nowadays that's actually a very popular field to study.
Yeah.
So you can check into narrative design, but often what is important for us is basically that you have an interesting portfolio. So as an example, that you can show that you already worked on some narrative topics, or maybe you use the modding tools, maybe for The Witcher, which is hard, or for, like, as an example, really popular modding tools that we often get are from Bethesda games. So as an example, Skyrim, or I think even Neverwinter Nights 2, which is already older now by Obsidian, or Hairbrain Schemes games. They often have really nice essential tools that you can make quests in, and non-linear quests. So as an example, when we hire a quest designer, we usually also ask for a test. So it's, for us, it's always very good if people already have experience with those topics.
So you also do you need to have some technical skills about, like, implementing those quests?
Yeah, so that's, let's say, this tricky thing about the quest designer, where they do have to have the narrative skills and the design skills, but also they have to be able to technically use those skills and put it into the game. So let's say having a very logical mind is super important, because we also have to do the, let's say, the visual scripting to actually make that quest make sense. So it's a very much a, let's say, jack of all trades kind of job.
Okay, so basically, if you're interested in that, you could just study anything and grab some experience by, for example, trying and doing mods for different games.
Yeah.
And then you can try yourself and send an application to us, for example.
So a whole bunch of quest designers actually have a modding background.
Yeah.
And usually those are the quest designers that when they join us as juniors, they're making the fastest progress, because they're just used to learning these kind of tools and those design principles by themselves. So they're usually also very quick at picking up what we need to do. So that's actually, for me, that's always one of the nicest things when I see that a modder applies. Because often they already, were self-possessed enough that they just did all of that work out of, let's say, love for the medium, right? They just do it for fun. And that's, of course, the best case, because, that's what our job should be.
Fun. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we have another question also about balancing the game. So is it something that you also sometimes do, or?
Not really. So we do have gameplay teams that are very much responsible for that. And on Cyberpunk, we actually build on that. So as an example, there we also had an encounter team that was actually helping us to really set up those proper combat or stealth scenarios. While on The Witcher, it was very much the quest designers, like, oh, put 3 bandits there, or oh, I think that feels like 5 neckers. And then someone from gameplay would maybe tell, hey Philip, 5 neckers is too difficult, make it 4. But there it wasn't as, let's say, controlled how we design things. But on Cyberpunk, since we do have stealth, we do have hacking, we do have combat, we actually really wanted to build on that. So there we have, let's say, teams that really take care of that. So we have a gameplay balance team that tweaks the weapons, AI teams that really tweak how the enemies actually respond, and then like level design and encounter teams that really make those combat scenarios pop. So as a quest designer, I usually do only the broad strokes there. I, of course, I'm always there, and I also fix bugs, and sometimes I did them myself, but usually we do have people that really focus on that part of the work now.
Cool. That's actually good to have people dedicated to the specific thing, so everyone can focus on their job and do it well, right?
Yeah, and that's also a nice thing for me, because it also allows us actually to learn a lot from them, because when we did things on The Witcher, when I did build a combat scenario, I just did it kind of instinctively. But actually, when you talk to experts who do these things well, and you actually learn how much there actually is behind it. And this is one of those things where without those people, we could not have built.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so we actually asked about the hardest quest from The Witcher 3. What about your favorite?
Oh, my favorite.
No expansions yet, okay? Let's just say base game.
I'm wondering. So of course, let's say story-wise, everyone always mentions the Bloody Baron, and I actually think for a good reason.
Yeah.
So I do think, let's say, in terms of a story that, like, even as a developer, I didn't, work on that quest. But, I would test it early on when, things are not done yet. And usually when you test a quest early, you don't really get emotionally invested because there's no music, there's no proper acting, there's no voice acting.
What's my favorite
so it's
side
early,
quest?
but you could always tell that with
the
this quest, that there's something
contract one.
behind it, and you
With
would
the
never
werewolf.
know, or will it
In the
work out
cave.
in the end when everything comes together? And then it just came together so well that the people working on that quest, they were basically just firing on all cylinders. But let's say my own subjective favorite, because it's a nice thing, is there's a quest on Skellige where you go to a secret cave with the son of, I forgot his name, the son of one of a crazy Jarl of Skellige. I forgot his name right now. But basically it's the Cave of Dreams.
Okay.
And it's a quest where you just go with a bunch of, let's say, Skellige warriors into a cave to explore it. And you start to have visions. So, you have a nice flying whale there. And Geralt goes through a few topics from the game as well. But it's, for me as a quest designer, it's a nice example of a quest that just comes as a surprise. Because it's not a quest that you usually just, you find on the map. You actually play a very standard, normal monster hunt in Skellige, where you have to go to a lighthouse and defeat a ghost. And then when you actually get back to, get your reward, that whole new big quest line actually starts, because you get into a fight and then you're thrown into prison. And this is something that I like as a quest designer a lot, where we basically can surprise people.
So but it's also
The
easy
Last
to
Wish,
miss,
best
isn't
quest.
Yes.
It? Yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, that's one of those things that we have to be open about, right? So because, earlier we talked about, let's say, my fairy tale quest in Blood and Wine. That's an optional quest that if you make another decision in the game, you can miss that one.
Oh yeah.
But as a quest designer, that's often actually one of the nicest things, because for the people that actually then play that stuff, it's very special.
Oh, yeah.
And also, and this is, let's say, a big, game design structural thing. If we do establish to the player that sometimes if you just play a normal monster hunt, suddenly a whole new quest line pops up, that automatically makes all other monster hunts more meaningful.
Yeah.
Because you can always imagine, oh, but maybe there is something. But of course, and it's also on us to actually offer that. But for me, that's always one of the worst things. When I play a game and there's a quest and I already know, oh, this quest is this type of content and I'm getting exactly that and then it's over. I like to have that sense of discovery and surprise. And this is why, for me subjectively, that quest is always a really nice example.
Witcher 4 revealed, yeah, they're
that
playing
sounds
it
really
right
nice.
now.
Also, there's like a replayability issue, because like if you hear from someone about this amazing quest that they found in Skellige and you missed it on your playthrough, then you're like, oh no, I have to play again, right? For example, I had this with this pan quest with the frying pan. I didn't play it, so now I obviously have to replay the game to to do it, right?
Yeah, and I like those. So this is why we sometimes make those also mutually exclusive quests. That sometimes it's not possible to play every quest in the game. So you actually do have to
This is a
replay
good
it if
quest,
you want
though.
to see it.
The Heart of the
That's
Woods.
true. Okay,
Really
so
good.
another question that we got from the chat is about the location. Your favorite location from The Witcher 3?
My favorite location? Oh, there are so many.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
Maybe my favorite location is the Hangman's Tree in Velen, because this
yeah.
is where I always fly to just play with our environment tools and set like the perfect sunset or the perfect sunrise. And it's like a nice center of the map. And for me, this is a very nicely designed point to start your journey after the
Your
prologue
Mario
of the
DLC
game,
was
right?
great.
You have that Hangman's Tree that it says a lot about the kind of world you're in with The Witcher. But you have you just have this view, and this is this experience. If you turn around, you can see the temple quarter of Novigrad. You see the big tower in the distance, but also in front of you, you have a little village there. You already
dogs.
see Baron's castle in the distance. So for me, it's always this nice moment where I played the prologue, and it was a small open world, but it was still small. And now suddenly there's all this opportunity.
So many possibilities.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And it's a similar thing that Bethesda does with the Fallout games, where after you leave the shelter and then suddenly there's the world in front of you. Or with Skyrim, after you're done with Helgen, suddenly now there's this big view on the world where you see all those places to go. And this is also, why I like the Hangman's Tree, because it kind of signifies that opportunity. Now I can just go wherever I want.
Yeah, exiting the vault for the
that's
first
a very,
time,
very nice
amazing,
choice, actually.
amazing feeling.
Okay, so do you know who's the mastermind that came up with Gwent?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I think that was a complicated story. So I
Because
do
we
know.
we had what the dice poker that we had
Exactly.
with the Witcher 1.
Yeah, and then in Witcher 2 we had arm wrestling.
Yeah.
We still had dice poker, and we actually had a few others that actually are in the files that were never finished.
Oh.
And they're actually, that's the nice thing about the Witcher 3 tools. They
They're
were
in the
based on the
files?
Witcher 2 tools. So in a quest, I could still start the arm wrestling game. It would just crash the game because it's it's not there anymore.
Close enough.
But basically, there was the task to make a new mini game, and I do think it was a longer process where I think Damien Monnier and Rafał Jaki,
Jason Slama.
Slama, so they were often like that team where they basically had to come up with that mini game, and I do think they were a bit in a race against time, where it was very much
Upgrade is gonna be free
you
if you
either
own
give us
Witcher,
something good right
by
now,
the way.
or we won't have enough time anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that was, let's say, this pressure cooker that actually got the
Yeah.
got the really good idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the end it went really well. People love Gwent. Either it's in The Witcher 3 or the standalone one.
Yeah.
Did you actually play Gwent while playing The Witcher 3 or skipped
Oh.
it?
So I was always very happy as a quest designer when a card was made from, let's say, a quest that I did.
Okay.
So, but I have to be honest, I'm not a big card game guy. I did play early versions of the multiplayer version of Gwent, that where we did internal tests, and it was still very much the Witcher 3 rule set.
Yeah.
And then I just played it with other quest designers in multiplayer. And then later I played Thronebreaker, of course.
Yeah.
And I really, really love Thronebreaker.
Yeah.
And that's,
Oh, yes.
it's, for me, that was always one thing that speaks about how good Thronebreaker was, that even as someone who's,
seems
not
so,
that
and
much
all.
into card games
It seems
generally,
so.
I had fun playing Thronebreaker. So, the Gwent rules were used in a very interesting way, where it wasn't just those battles, but sometimes you had these cool
Puzzles,
challenges,
yeah.
right? Where I think like rocks are falling from a mountain, so you have to use your Gwent cards to destroy those, let's say, rock cards that are coming towards you. And I really like that thing. So this is my general announcement. If you haven't played Thronebreaker and you really want a really cool Witcher RPG made by some of the best people we had on The Witcher, so Mateusz Ciemaszkiewicz, Jakub Szymałek, you should really give it a chance. I really love
Yeah, we're actually gonna talk about
story's fire.
Thronebreaker for the entire stream in like
Oh,
a couple
perfect.
of weeks. So we're gonna advertise it. We're
Perfect.
gonna give it what it deserves, because this is really a
So they
great
will
game. But
talk
like,
about
how about The
Thronebreaker.
Witcher 3? Did you play Gwent in the game actually?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
So, sometimes I had to, because, well, not that, I had, but, during development, one thing that quest designers also did was we just destro tested other quest designers' quests. So, of course, we had a really, really good QA team
Yeah.
that was basically doing all of that work to make make sure that our quests are working. But towards the end of development, we also try to actually have quest designers essentially break other quest designers' quests, because usually we knew our own weaknesses. So
Alright.
I played some of those quests over and over and over again, and one of them was also, the Gwent
Oh yeah.
storyline with, getting all of those cards. So this is probably why later on I didn't play as much Gwent anymore.
Because like a
during
trauma.
development. yeah.
Did you? Okay, but I was getting to the question that was actually asked. What's your favorite faction then?
Oh,
do you even have a favorite faction?
maybe the Northern Kingdoms, because there's so many cards that, let's say, are reminiscent of, let's say, important characters from Sapkowski's novels. So for me, it was always, we have this internal art tool where our artists are always uploading their art maybe before it's ready. So I often checked in the Gwent area, like for new, legacy characters from the books. Oh, how are they? How do they look like? As an example of Borg 3 Jackdaws from the books.
Yeah.
When he got his card, I was very like, ooh, this is so nice.
Yeah,
Or,
I actually did the same.
yeah, or I did. I worked on a bug fix for The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt where the cow demon,
Monster deck so
the Bovine
up
Defense
in
Force
Gwent.
initiative,
At least in
starts
the
killing
original.
you as a player if you kill too many cows.
Yeah.
And a bunch of people were involved there. So I think our quest designer Stephen Rhodes actually came up with the name Bovine Defense Force Initiative. But even that one was made into a Gwent card. So that was So if I have a favorite Gwent card, it's definitely also that one.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
Okay, now a little more serious. Do you remember this moment where the game, while working on it, it stopped being like the design and code, and it actually like took life of its own? How did it feel when that happened?
So during development,
Yeah, where there's like this moment. Okay, now first we're just designing it, and finally you see that it is actually a game.
I think it's often when the music comes in. So let's say, our composers, they have that magical ability that, they do their own thing. They, of course, they talk to other people. So, as an example, as a quest designer, I can talk to them about the mood of a scene and what they do. But then, they return to their area and they make music. And then suddenly, and that's that magical thing that they do, when the music is just put into the game, it just gets so much better.
Wow.
Right? So, sometimes you have an
It's a big
emotional
thing.
scene, and even, there's the voice acting that comes in, which does a lot, but you're still not sure, does this really work? And then you hear the music, and suddenly,
You're like,
this
wow.
makes it perfect. Yeah, and it's like, let's say, I'm very envious of that ability that they can just, with their part of the game, they can just suddenly make everything better. And I think that was a case for The Witcher Wild Hunt, where once we actually got music into those meaningful scenes, it suddenly felt like, this is actually a video game. And like even as someone who knew all of those stories, I still was able to feel immersed, right? I still got the emotion of those scenes. So for me, it was actually that moment. And honestly, that's the case for every game. So, it was similar for Cyberpunk. That actually made a huge difference.
This is a really cool, because I know that some people don't really, focus on the music that much, but probably if you showed them the game without it and then with it, it makes such a big difference. Even if you don't notice it,
Get
you
your
notice
pitchforks
it
in this heat,
subconsciously.
man.
Yeah, and even right now, there's not a lot of music there, right? Because you also have to know how to use it, right? If you use music
Terrible
players
outside.
all the time, it loses its effect. But you have a little bit in the background, and it creates this mood of the creepy forest, and it doesn't have to do a lot. But without it, maybe there would be something missing.
Yeah, I remember, like, if I watch a movie, because they sometimes actually in the movies or TV shows, they do it specifically that they don't put music in the scene. That this is like, that's what they do. You immediately notice that there's no music. Where's the music?
Yeah, and that can also actually be a powerful tool.
Yeah, of course.
But as an example, also when you write the story and the characters, it's sometimes crazy how well music can explain that. So as an example, for Wild Hunt, I think the main theme called Geralt of Rivia, if I listen to that piece, and I have in mind the arc that Geralt goes through in that game, right? And let's say those emotional highs and lows of the game and the places you go to, for me, I can hear all of that in that song. Like, when suddenly the, like...
Oh, but
I forgot what it, like, not windpipes?
When
suddenly the bagpipes...
a lot of different instruments.
Yes. Yeah, when suddenly the
instruments.
bagpipes come in, there's
is
like
this
you
bot?
know there's like, Geralt has arrived on
Yeah.
Skellige, and now like the big things are happening. And it's similar for Hearts of Stone, where every time I hear a hurdy-gurdy instrument now, I think of Gaunter O'Dim and all of these things.
And then we of course have la la la.
Yes. And yeah, that pushes you, right? It's really
Oh
good.
yeah. You know that something is gonna go down.
Exactly.
Nice. Okay, so we are actually. I haven't noticed. Did we already kill the Leshen? No, not
Nope.
yet. Good. So now we're going to kill the Leshen. But do you have any favorite monster in The Witcher 3?
Probably it's the Leshen.
Yeah.
Because it's one of those monsters where you can really feel this, let's say, connection to the people. And this quest is actually a perfect example. That's the very first quest of The Witcher Wild Hunt that I ever got to see.
Griffin the most.
Because it was
Griffins
one
are
of the
cool.
first quests that was actually just built for the game for, this is how a really cool monster hunt should work in The
Okay.
Witcher Wild Hunt. So that was also a bit of a test case.
Thanks for
Right,
coming,
how do
Albert.
we build quests?
Thanks for coming.
And that quest is still more or less similar to, what I saw back then. And I think it does a really nice job of building up that Leshen. And the Leshi, I think in Polish, it's also very connected to, let's say, more older folklore.
Yeah. It's like Slavic culture and
Exactly.
and such.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's this, let's say, European spirit that comes through with these monsters, right? Like even in Germany as a kid, when I was going to the forest of my village, my grandpa would warn me that the Waldschrat is going to get me if I'm there alone. And Waldschrat is also the German translation of Läschen.
Oh.
So, for me, that's always nice when we have a little bit of a, when the monster isn't just a monster, when there's actually something more there as in this quest, where it's, deeply connected to the people and, let's say, to the sins of those people, where, the monster takes on more than just a literal form, but it also, let's say, embodies, let's say, a certain theme that we want to transport. And I think there's, this quest is more or less the monster hunt of the game. It's like very clear. It's, very self-contained, but it does a lot of those things that we usually want a good quest to do well.
So actually, you're talking about that. Like, this is the best example of the
anime was
monster hunt. Is there actually some structure that you follow while designing the monster hunts, or
I enjoyed.
Or it's just your imagination?
So there is a few things that usually monster hunt should have, but we're not following a very specific structure.
Okay.
And it's also a decision that actually our lead quest designer Matti actually kind of actively took, where if we would follow a structure too much, then also quest like those monster hunts would probably feel too samey very quickly. But usually it was always very much, usually they should be on a notice board, because that's also one of those big parts of the Witcher fantasy. But then also we always should have a proper investigation of it. And then usually, and that was, let's say, a story rule, there should be some twist to it, right? It can't just be, there's a monster, kill it, get your money, the end. Usually there should be, let's say, a surprise there, or a twist, or, some moral that's, let's say, a bit more tricky. And as a quest designer, that's usually the fun part. Because then usually you want to actually combine the monster with that and have it say a little bit more. But, the truth of the matter is, in Witcher Wild Hunt, not every monster hunt is, that deep, because we just did many of them.
Of course, yeah.
But at least all of them, they have this, let's say, core level of, it shouldn't just be, something you do and you forget and you move on. There always has to be a little bit of something, right? Like, let's say, a golden nugget of, like, some clever thing.
No reveals,
some
Nicola,
idea.
sadly.
And like,
reveals.
without
And there
that,
won't be.
we wouldn't do a quest.
I mean, I guess this is about all of the quests in The Witcher 3, because some games just make you, I don't know, bring me 3 rabbit ears that you gathered in the forest, and that's it, or 5 pieces of this flower and 5 pieces of that flower. And I guess we don't really go with such simple quests. They need to have something special.
Yeah, and if we do it, then usually, let's say, we should at least know that and make it part of the story. So as an example, like with the Pan quest and the old lady, it's a very simple, kind of annoying quest, but also, that was the point, right? Like, the quest designer wasn't doing that accidentally. He was like, I'm gonna make Geralt do, let's say, the most dumb task a Witcher could do, but I'm gonna make it really good and really interesting, and and I think this is usually what we try to do.
At least in the Pan quest,
we wouldn't just do a quest that's just
cool.
busy work.
Yeah.
So that's, let's say, the first comments I always saw in our quest pitch document was our lead quest designer just saying, we don't do fetch quests.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if we had a fetch quest, usually there should be something at least, interesting about it.
Of course. So did you make any monster hunts in The Witcher 3 yourself?
So partly. So I did pitch some, and then I also worked on some. But due to the open world work, I actually didn't get to finish any.
Okay.
So I worked on some monster hunts super early on. So I think the first one I did was I forgot what the quest name is called, like the Grave Hag in Lindenvale. And that's one of the absolutely most simple quests. So, it's not a very deep one. But this is, as an example, also where I learned how much a quest designer should do and how much they shouldn't do. Because as an example, when I started there as a junior, I thought, well, I need a graveyard next to the village. And I feel like that graveyard should be on a hill. So I just went into our terrain tools and I built a hill and I put a graveyard there. And then I put my quest there. And I think like a week later, the environment team came to me like,
nothing about next gen.
Did you like put just like some hill into our world? Yes. You shouldn't do that. And this is how I learned that a quest designer probably shouldn't build their own hill. However, to this day, that graveyard is on a hill. So
oh yeah, I was just gonna ask, did they keep it? That's nice,
so,
your legacy.
Yeah, but they didn't. They made it look much more interesting.
Much better.
Yeah. But yeah, I also did let's say a fake monster hunt, where you actually had to. I worked on it, so that's the thing about quest designer, right? You don't always have your quest from beginning to end. So this is why, let's say, I don't want to take the credit for those quests completely. But as an example, I also got a quest where you have a fake witcher who's just acting like a witcher. As an example, back then in this quest design, you could actually kill him in the end for daring to be a witcher. And this is, as an example, an element that I remember I wanted to change because I felt like that wouldn't be very much in Geralt's character to just kill someone for daring to wear a witcher's medallion. So yeah, I worked a little bit on that. But honestly, I think most of the smaller monster hunts were done by Danish Markiewicz. So he did just a ton of them.
Wow,
he's like
yeah.
He's like that hidden person who did like so many quests in that game, like many of the smaller ones.
Pozdrav.
And I think this one in particular,
it's terrible.
I think
Hot.
Joanna Radomska, I do know, worked on it. But that's also the thing.
It's
More
very hot.
people were very likely involved because it was such an
Of
early
course.
monster hunt that probably a bunch of quest designers, try to come together and build it together.
Nice. Okay, so we actually have a question regarding, do you know if there are any secrets left in The Witcher 3? Like, I remember a few months ago, one has been found actually in Skellige, where the bird lady from Blood and Wine was dying, right?
Yeah, that was actually what it was my Easter egg.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was always trying to put a lot of them into the game. The problem was that Easter egg is kind of, it's not working very well. So I actually tried to fix that now for the complete edition. So actually the Easter egg should work now. But basically, sorry, what?
Are there any secrets
Yes.
in The Witcher 3
So
left?
I do know one that's left, and it's actually a meaningful one. So it's actually
wow.
telling us about a character, and it's been always in the game,
X.
and it actually has pretty big story implications.
Find it.
But as far as I can tell, because I actually checked the internet, like, oh, do people know that? I've never seen it mentioned.
Wow.
So I'm not gonna say what it is.
Okay,
But
maybe
actually
maybe
there
a
is
little
one thing left.
a little hint where, I don't know. It's been a couple of years, so
Yeah,
maybe people
so-
need some help.
It's connected to Crookback Bog and that little village with the crones. But I can't say more.
guys,
Well,
go and find it.
I'll go.
But when it comes to Easter eggs, do you also prepare those, think about them, like implement them?
Yeah, so that was one of those, let's say, the good part about getting to do a lot of open world content in The Witcher Wild Hunt, where I also just had time to do those, right? So, and this is like something where those Easter eggs, they're not very planned. So I did a ghost ship in Skellige, and that wasn't, let's say, a big plan. That was simply, I was sitting there on a Friday evening next to my colleague Danish, and he was actually working on his quest with the flying ghost whale.
Yeah.
And he said, look at that cool ghost shader I did. So basically the effect that makes the whale look like a ghost. And I was like, that's cool. I'll see how it looks like on a ship. And then I just like, oh yeah, I guess that shader looks cool. So then I just like made a ship like, come up from the ocean and go down, I think like at 2 a.m. in Skellige in one location once. And I think I did it in 20 minutes. And like there's people on YouTube that have like, they made videos about it with like 1 million views.
In Crazy
Like,
Theories, probably.
Yeah, what does it mean? Like, well, it meant that Danish did a cool ghost shader, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna use that. So, yeah,
Wow.
but we actually did have to later actually make lists of our Easter eggs so our legal team can look over it. So
yeah.
we don't, sometimes have some things that would get us into trouble, because I can't say, what kind of things did, but we actually did sometimes get a little, like some letters like, is this our thing that you're using here as an Easter egg? What are you doing with this? And we're like, no, this is, this is
Completely
nothing.
different.
So we're actually, we still do them. So, you find nice Easter eggs in Cyberpunk, but we at least now make sure to at least know, what's in there.
Yeah, but actually I remember with Cyberpunk, there was an email sent, I don't know, to I think entire company to like come up with Easter eggs ideas. So it was super cool that everyone could actually contribute. Obviously not all of the ideas were used, but it was really nice to be a part of it.
Yeah, that was actually our lead quest designer, Pavel Sasko, actually asked me to write a mail and actually make a sheet. Because after Witcher Wild Hunt, I did so many Easter eggs that I was considered to be the guy who does these things, and it's one of those things where, let's say, as a quest designer, using all of those tools, like we're also
Thanks,
like in a
Nico.
very enviable position that if I want to do an Easter egg, I just can. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
you
can
just
use
put
all
it
of
in
those
the
tools.
game.
And, there's some people that like they would really like to do that and they have really cool ideas, but they're not necessarily using those tools. So they would just be cut off from that process. So this is why we actually wanted to open it. So if you have a really cool idea, then let's just do
Yeah,
it. So this is why we actually did this list,
That's
and this
amazing,
is
yeah.
why we did some nice Easter eggs, like the tribute to Rutger Hauer, where I got to hide him in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Someone was preparing the location. I think Piotr Adamczyk, he actually put the music there.
That
So
was
it was
cool.
very much
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a nice hidden project where we just like a few people came together to to do something really nice and to honor someone who was very important for the cyberpunk genre.
Okay. So I see that we actually finished the lesson quest. So I guess we can finish up. Thank you very much, Philip, for joining me today.
Thank you.
And hopefully we can do it again, because I guess there's a lot to talk about regarding quest design. And if we were to talk about Blood and Wine or Cyberpunk, you would probably have even more and more stories, right?
Yeah. So if people want to hear more, they're happy to. But if they don't want to hear me, I'm also happy to.
No. I think they loved it. We had a lot of questions specifically for you. So.
Okay, it's perfect. So I'm happy to do it again.
Okay, awesome. So thank you very much. And for you guys, we're gonna see you next week for the Hearts of Stone stream. Not telling you who it's gonna be with, but
It's gonna
I
be
think it's
Gunther
gonna be
Odem,
worth
isn't
a
it?
watch.
It's gonna
So
be
thank you
Gunther
for
Odem
joining us
actor,
today, and see you next
isn't it?
week.
See you.
Bye.
Okay. All right. So. This is what we got today. All right, it was cool. I mean, it was cool to listen to Philip, but I can obviously see that lots of people are kind of disappointed, including me, obviously, that we haven't seen the actual next gen update, or at least like a screenshot. Now, obviously, it might happen at the end of all of these streams, which would be cool. Again, it would be really cool. I need to change the scene so accidentally something doesn't come in. Yeah, they're gonna have Hearts of Stone stream. They're gonna have the Blood and Wine. After that, is it gonna be Thronebreaker or Gwent? Then Cyberpunk. Oh boy, But it's gonna be interesting if they bring, like, I don't know, Gontrode in voice actor, which I don't know how much he would be able to talk, but it would be cool. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed this, definitely. I like The Witcher 3. We actually learned that there is one more Easter egg left in the Crookback Bog, in that village where you have not the witches, yeah? The crones, sorry, the crones. So, I wonder now, when theoretically could we actually see that Easter egg? Is it after the worst ending? Is it after Bloody Baron quest? Yeah, there's gonna be a huge hunt now for that Easter egg, but I'm sure X is gonna find it first. I think so. How long will they do this? So this is stream number 3 out of 8. Cyberpunk is the last stream. Well, yeah, technically Cyberpunk should be the last stream. Really? They're gonna take... Oh man, because 8 streams. So are we getting patch 1.6 in September? What? I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm still... It's probably already got it. Could be. We'll see. I don't know. Hopefully, they show something in the future. At least relatively soon. I mean, people have been asking, and I think it would help overall. Not generally with the hype, but it would calm people down a little bit. But of course, yeah, someone said it's gonna be 8 streams, and if they're gonna be doing expansion per expansion, then I mean, what is the Easter egg? Which is some random stuff which is put in the game by the developers that you can find. They probably want to time the Cyberpunk stream the release of the anime in September. Yeah. Are the VODs on Twitch? Yeah, you can find the VODs on Twitch. I mean, yeah, it would be logical to have like Edge Runners then in September, plus the stream, plus everything. I don't know if they're gonna count in patch 1.6. I mean, patch 1.6 has been testing for a while now. Like, what do they have planned for it? Like, how big is it going to be? Like, what's going on? I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind to have a Cyberpunk patch sooner, but it all comes down to how long they need time to actually like finish it. Because I don't even know what they have for it ready. But I don't know. We'll see. It was kind of eh. The only thing had one thing in Easter egg announcement, yeah. Do you think 1.6 patch will see Easter eggs added as well? I don't know. I really don't know. They might, but at the same time, I think they have some more important things to work on in Cyberpunk rather than just Easter eggs, if you ask me. I don't know. Are companies burning down? I mean, it's not burning down really, but I wish that hype is generated in a more natural fashion. But it was cool. Like, it's cool for me because I like The Witcher. I like covering The Witcher. I enjoy listening to Philip talk. But overall, I can see why people would be kind of eh. Maybe they're going to delay it again. It would be extremely unprofessional if it was delayed again. Like, it would be, I don't know, man, because that would be like, what, the third time now? I don't know. They added a lady with a key Easter egg. Yeah. They like to add Easter eggs, but I don't think that's a top priority right now, if you ask me. 1.6 is probably taking so long because the team working on updates have reduced in size. There is also that element for sure. There is also that element. But I mean, you know, we'll see. Well, I told people, like, what might as well happen is that you can have a stream and nothing gets revealed. Nothing. They just do the stream and they finish it and that's about it, which sadly happened here. The only thing is, I mean, from marketing perspective and any logical perspective, if we're going to be talking about building up hype, it would be kind of logical, you know. It would be kind of logical to show something here, even if that same format, because the first time they did a stream, the first one, and they released the Rogue Mage for Gwent. So, I mean, does this mean no more streaming? No, I'm gonna stream every single event that happens in the 20th anniversary, so you don't have to worry about that. Oh yeah, the stream was super entertaining though. Yeah, that's true. From like just the talk perspective, development perspective, and everything, listening to what they went through the development, that was cool to hear, definitely. Man, I will stream. Don't worry. I will stream. People would gather CDPR if they delay it again. Nah. No one would gather that anywhere, but it wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be as fun. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, what? They delayed The Witcher 3 again, the next gen upgrade, so what now? They have also like the Cyberpunk expansion? Nah, man. Because you have to keep in mind, like, Witcher 3 is gonna have another boom once this next gen upgrade comes out. It's gonna have people return to the game, play it again. It's gonna have its nice little runtime, and then it's again gonna drop down, and then you come up with, you know, Cyberpunk stuff. But that's why I don't think they're gonna delay. But knowing CDPR, it's impossible to know. Didn't they say Xatalis found the last Easter egg? Well, it seems he didn't. It seems there is one more left. Cut content info was good. Yeah. They had especially having like during the night tournament where they actually wanted to have the full, you know, night combat. But I can see why that would be janky. Like pointing, like doing this. Yeah, we kinda. But having full cavalry battle as well. You know, with Nilfgaard, and having that whole fight, which would be like a 10-hour quest, and even having Brokilon, yeah. But I mean, I know it's a crazy thing, but I like what Titan Quest is doing, for example, because Titan Quest came out ages ago, but they're still releasing expansions for Titan Quest, and it's still being sold. I know that it's not logical maybe for CDPR to do it, to go back, but I would release one more expansion for The Witcher 3. Brokilon or something like that. Like, it doesn't have to be obviously like the crazy huge expansion like Blood and Wine, but you know, but that's just me. Because why not? You would sell that expansion 100% because people like The Witcher, and it would cut time until your next project comes up, but what do I know? I mean, what do I know? But I would definitely take that approach. Will you cover Capcom and Square Enix games like Resident Evil and Final Fantasy? Actually, I have a video for Final Fantasy in the works, because I played it for the first time. Resident Evil, though, I mean, when the next game comes out, I might talk about the Netflix Resident Evil, but I don't know. The channel is not... But I don't know, like, when you have a popular game like that, what's stopping you from releasing expansion years later? I mean, obviously you have budgeting, planning, organization, developers and everything that you have to count on that, but it's still going to be a project which is going to make you money, technically. But again, what do I know? What do I know? Said they were going to add an army coming through a town. I think CDP wants to renew relations with the players. Maybe they'll be back on track. Well, the only thing I think people want is just for them to be honest in terms of what do we expect. And at the same time, I think optimizing marketing a little bit should be kind of focused on as well. Because, I mean, you know, in order to have an effective marketing and to increase the traffic, you gotta give people some crumbs, you know, to catch up on. Witcher 3 Online... No. It would be cool if someone made a Witcher 3 co-op mod, though. Imagine going with your friends through the Witcher world and just battling the monsters out. That would be cool, though. Actually, when it comes to Techland has been doing a very nice job maintaining some sort of the hype for their games, for their older titles, and even for like Dying Light 2. I mean, obviously now everyone who wanted to play that game played Dying Light 2, but still, I think they did a nice job overall with, you know, Dying Light 1 bringing back, introducing some events or something. And that's maybe something it would be cool to have in The Witcher 3, some sort of an event. Okay, if you cannot have an expansion, if it takes a lot of time, if it's problematic with the Red engine, maybe an event, maybe something like that, you know. Oh, thanks for coming, Josie. No, the thing is, with the next gen upgrade, it's not really for profit primarily. That's just that's free. So if you have any version of The Witcher whatsoever besides the Switch one, you're gonna be getting the next gen upgrade for free. If you wanna buy it, you just buy the original Witcher 3 version of the game, and that's pretty much it. Implement building or upgrading homes of Care Moren. Yeah, but I mean, marketing has changed a lot today, and what people want. So, you know, releasing some smaller types of content in various increments, that helps. That helps a lot. With people getting interested into the game, with people, you know, fan service. It's not bad to do a fan service sometimes, because people will appreciate that in a sense. Dying Light 1 better than Dying Light 2? Yeah, I mean, they both had its plus and minuses. I enjoy both. I mean, I like the protagonist, I like Crane more than in Dying Light 2, though. I think Max to Max will get next gen summer 2023. I mean, I don't think it's gonna be delayed. I think they're just keeping their mouth shut for some reason, but it's worrying. It's definitely worrying that it's still not. Because they said fourth quarter of 2022. I mean, they still technically have time. It's still, you know, July until you start advertising. But I don't know. It's like 20 years of CD Projekt. But even what they have right now with the guests they have, for me personally, it's interesting overall. I mean, like that small event in The Witcher 3 that you create, you can just put it obviously as a free thing. Hello, Abdallah. Nothing. Well, you missed the talk with Philip Weber, but if you're talking about announcements, there were no announcements. Well, there was an announcement that there is not going to be an announcement, pretty much. But the full stream is done. What happened to the event? It finished. It finished. Right now we're just having a post-show kind of discussion a little bit before I go off. Cyberpunk 2 must never make the same mistake. Yeah. Isn't Epic helping CDPR with The Witcher? Yeah. So Epic is helping with The Witcher. So if they need like help with the engine, if they need some things to work on the engine, they're gonna have Epic engineers work on that, which is nice. Which is extremely nice, you know. Well, especially when you have people who made, you know, the engine into what it is. It's good to have them. We'll see how is that gonna be when it comes out. I know it's gonna be gritty, that's 100%, but yeah. Any news about next gen? Sadly, no. I honestly think they're hiding the Witcher 3 next gen. Yeah, I don't know. They fixing all things in The Witcher 3. Maybe they'll finish the quest in Devil's Bit. Wait, that's not fixed even today? Man, I don't know that. Are they completely abandoning the Red engine? Yeah. So after the Cyberpunk expansion, that's done. So right now, oh my god, this bot again. So basically, this bot is it's always the same name. What was I talking about? My god. Yeah, so Red Engine, it's done. Red Engine is kaput. I wish they released like the Red Kit for The Witcher 3, like they did for The Witcher 2, but it is what it is. But Unreal Engine has some good capabilities for modding, so that's also a plus. I mean, I think CDPR is gonna bounce back. The only way you bounce back is with proper titles when you release them without any issues. Like if people see that you are not making the same mistakes that you made before that, people will forgive. I mean, make Red Engine free for everyone to use. Yeah, like someone's gonna give you that. I mean, I understand what you're saying, but man, they're not gonna. The amount of money which is actually poured into that, they're never gonna make that free. It ain't happening. Why am I upset-minded? I don't get it. Red Engine is too limited on the AI. You know why people were expecting? Because honestly, it makes sense from the... It makes sense. I'm sorry, but it makes sense from the marketing perspective. I don't know. It might be just me, because I know how would I actually do the marketing mix for that, but it's just me. Do we have a proper explanation why they abandoned it? My friend. Well, you know, it's not easy to work with. It's simply not easy to work with because you have all of those issues working on Cyberpunk. You're not gonna go back to it. You just won't. So yeah. I mean, Red Engine has its pluses, definitely. Like, the engine as an engine, like, Witcher 3 is running on that engine. Witcher 2 is running on that engine. There's definitely pluses, but at the same time, if it's not good to work with, if it's problematic, then just, you know, you don't bother with it anymore. And actually updating the engine and making it better requires people who know what they're doing, and those people are expensive, and also updating that engine costs money. So I would rather have them, alright, do the things in Unreal Engine 5, but at least you're gonna be able to allocate more resources to the actual development. Yeah, Red Engine looks great, same as Frostbite, but again, Frostbite is also difficult to work with. For example, when they were doing Anthem, they were having issues with Frostbite because it wasn't made for that type of a game, and it was just problematic. Because you had to rewrite some things, implement it so you can actually have Anthem work, which, you know, We need more LKM streams. I'll stream more, my friend. I'll definitely stream more. How Rockstar managed to avoid all of the issues with the Rage engine? I mean, phew, Rage engine is really good. Rage engine is pretty good. I mean, Rockstar has different problems. Every company has its problems today. It's impossible to find a company which doesn't have problems. They ever make Cyberpunk 2? I hope it's more of an RPG. I just wish that life paths are more, you know, fleshed out in Cyberpunk, so you actually feel like I'm playing the Corpo all the time. Like in New Vegas. Like in New Vegas, you had different choices that you could actually change the game completely and change how you want to play the game. If you want to destroy every other faction, you do it. Simple as that. SL Games, thank you so much for $10. Thank you so much. And there is a bot again. Mike, YouTube, man, YouTube needs to do something about these bots. YouTube doesn't have good moderation tools. YouTube doesn't have good tools for streaming. YouTube is generally not good for streaming, because if I go and start reacting to a single trailer for a video game, stream is gonna be demonetized. Yeah, From Software is pretty good though. From Software, but even like From Software had problems on PC with frame rate. But yeah, I mean, Elden Ring was such a good game. My God, Elden Ring was so good. Rockstar has linear design. Yeah, when it comes to missions, yeah. But at the same time, you know, making a sandbox like GT or Red Dead, there's so many things which can go wrong with each one of those quests all over. Oh yeah, EA. Well, people got used to EA being EA. That's the thing. I mean, what's going on with EA now? Just think about it. They have some games announced, but honestly, like, things are, you know, I think EA is gonna be, and they even said it, they want to be bought. So I think someone's going to get EA under them. I think that's happening. If it isn't happening already in the background. Again. Yo, man, this is terrible. This is absolutely terrible. This is absolutely terrible. I feel like CDPR should have stepped back and worked on a smaller project to help fix the Red engine instead of moving right away in a big game. Yeah, I mean, they made those mistakes, definitely. But right now, what they have is basically they have Molasses Flood, which is working on a smaller title. So that's gonna be kind of like a buffer between those two games. And I do think, again, that Molasses Flood is going to be some sort of a co-op in the Witcher world. I might be wrong, but I don't see Molasses Flood doing Cyberpunk again. I don't know, maybe because it's tricky for a Cyberpunk brand. I don't know. Witcher is gonna be a little bit easier to do in terms of marketing and everything, so we'll see. Oh, no worries, Sentinel, it's everywhere. Did I enjoy Elden Ring more than The Witcher 3? I enjoyed both games in their own way, because ultimately they're different games. The formula is different, the way you play it is different, but I enjoy both games a lot. I think Elden Ring is one of the best games that came out in a while. It is. I mean, the boss fights and everything, and the world is so well done when in terms of like how it's formatted. You don't have waypoint here, waypoint there. You just go out and explore, and you kind of find your own way in Elden Ring, which I think is cool. You can make a mistake, open up a chest, you're gonna be found like up there in that and like almost end game area. So how many writers are worked on The Witcher 3 and now are working on the 4? We don't have that info yet, but in that in the quarterly report that they do, you can actually see like how many people are allocated to what projects. So you can kind of compare it. Yeah, and yeah, but Elden Ring favorite game of 2022? Yeah, so far definitely. I mean, I'm looking forward to Hogwarts. I'm looking forward to the God of War game. So that's gonna be as well. Like God of War is gonna be coming in clutch at the end of the year, which is nice. I think EA should buy CDPR. If EA buys CDPR, I'm not gonna make a single more video about CDPR and EA. It's EA and CDPR. Oh god, no. Please don't. Please don't. I'll play the Stray Cat game soon. I'll have a video on that. Next gen upgrade has help from Epic. No. Next Witcher game being done in Unreal Engine 5 has help from Epic. Pretty much. How big could they make the Witcher 4 map using Unreal Engine 5? They can make a big map using the tools for level creation in Unreal Engine 5. They can make huge worlds. But are they going to do it? We don't know. Alright. So. Yeah, I'm streaming soccer, but you came at the end. Because I'm gonna be wrapping things up now. Because I gotta go do some other stuff, work, and yeah. What other locations would you like to see in The Witcher 4? Kovir? Yeah. I would love to see more locations. And honestly, it depends what story they do, but I think using Unreal Engine 5 would be good if you want to create those more worlds and etc. EA buying LKM. Imagine that. EA buys me and then everything I'm doing, I'm opening card packs for football. CDPR knows how to make maps. Yeah, the world design... I mean, the world design in any CDPR game is great. I mean, Night City, like Cyberpunk has issues, but Night City, from a design perspective, when you're looking at it, it looks grandiose. I mean, it does. It looks grandiose. It looks nice. Witcher in Zerkania would be cool. Phew. Kovir and more Nilfgaard would be great. Yeah. Please always want to know what your accent is. I mean, I'm from Bosnia, but my accent is mix of everything. Pretty much. Because when you grow up with different pronunciation, like British English, US English, different ways of saying things, you kind of mix it all up. You know, from films, from games. So I don't really have like this. Yeah, I don't know. Gwent expanded so much lore these years. They have so much to tell in the next game. Yeah, there is so much lore in Gwent. A lot. Off year 2? Yeah, there were people who actually thought I was from Texas. They couldn't believe I wasn't from US. I'm like, how do I prove you that? I don't know. I don't care. Like, people legit thought I was living in US. But no, I've never visited US. I will in the future, but yeah. Do you think things would be different if Cyberpunk was made in Unreal Engine 4 instead of Red Engine? I think Cyberpunk would be different if the management wasn't having issues. Did they announce the next Witcher upgrade? No. LKM definitely has a Texas accent. I've been getting that a lot. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't going for a Texas accent or a Texan accent. It seems I pronounce some words, but not everything. Obviously, as soon as I start speaking, it's easy to know that I'm not from United States. Very easy. All right. So this is everything gonna be for today. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for joining. Sadly, we don't have the rest of the info when it comes to, you know, next gen, but it is what it is. Yeah. All right. Thank you for taking time of your day. Again, don't forget to check us out on Twitter and Discord if you want to join the discussion there. I will have a video tomorrow, and yeah, we're gonna have more fun. And of course, next week there is going to be a stream. There is going to be a different stream. Say howdy, y'all. Yeah, I'm not even close, man. As soon as I start speaking Rs, it's so easy to understand I'm not from US or... Alright, enough for today. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Have a great day. Don't be nervous. Don't be angry. Be nice. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.